We're just doing 2 Corinthians still. It's been a while since I've had a time to really sit out here and make a video. I've been doing a lot of reels, mostly of the pets, nature, God's creation in general, me eating whatever I find around here that grows. I'm sitting by rabbit eye blueberry right now, tree, little bush, and listening to a squirrel up above me. But all that's God. I don't see how anybody can deny his existence just by looking around them. So 2 Corinthians 11. Paul defends his apostleship. I'm using the Amplified today. I wish you would bear with me while I indulge in a little foolishness, but indeed you are bearing with me as you read this. I am jealous for you with a godly jealousy, because I have promised you to one husband to present you as a pure virgin to Christ. Not everybody understands the way he's talking right here. He's talking about the church, God's people presented as a pure virgin to Christ. Unless you're saved or born again, you don't really understand this vernacular. That's all I can really say. Um, a long time ago, the Jewish weddings were set up a certain way, and the descriptions of Christ and the bride and the bridegroom are similar to these things. You can look into that yourself further. And keep on here. I am jealous for you. Okay, I just said that, for you with a godly jealousy, because I have promised you to one husband to present you as a pure virgin to Christ. But I am afraid that even as the serpent beguiled Eve by his cunning, your minds may be corrupted and led away from the simplicity of your sincere and pure devotion to Christ. For you seem willing to allow it if one comes and preaches another Jesus, whom we have not preached to you. Or if you receive a different spirit from the one you received, or a different gospel from one you accepted, you tolerate all this beautifully, welcoming the deception. Yet I consider myself in no way inferior to the so-called super apostles. Side note, this may be a sarcastic reference to the teachers of false doctrines, pseudo-apostles, who opposed Paul and tried to claim they had an association with the original 12 disciples. Moving on. But even if I am unskilled in speaking, yet I am not untrained in knowledge. I know that I am what I am talking about, that we have made this evident to you in every way in all things. Side note again, like the original 12, Paul received his knowledge of the gospel from the Lord. You remember some other videos back, if you keep up, or if you already know this, that after the road to Damascus experience Paul had, he was gone for 3 years, being instructed by the Lord somehow or another. He said he was caught up. He doesn't know if he was caught up in the spirit or in the body or what, but he was there. Or did I perhaps sin by humbling myself so that you might be exalted and honored because I preach God's gospel to you free of charge? And they put here, traveling philosophers and religious teachers, including the false apostles, customarily charge for their lectures. Paul's reason for refusing support from this church is unclear. For whatever reason, he didn't take money from them. But he was a tent maker by trade, so he probably could support himself too. I robbed other churches by accepting more than their share of financial support from my ministry to you. And when I was with you and ran short financially, I did not burden any of you, for what I needed was fully supplied by the brothers, Silas and Timothy, who came from Macedonia, the free church at Philippi. So I kept myself from being a burden to you in any way and will continue to do so. So he's accepted funds and donations from other churches that gave them to him, but he did not accept anything from the Corinthians. I'm sure on occasion he made his own way by the tent making skills, because everybody needed a tent back then. As the truth of Christ is in me, my boast of independence will not be silenced in the regions of Achaia, which is southern Greece. Why? Because I do not love you or wish you well or have regard for your welfare? God knows that I do. But what I am doing, I will keep doing, for I am determined to keep this independence in order to cut off the claim of those who want an opportunity to be regarded just as we are in the things they brag about. For such men are counterfeit apostles, deceitful workers masquerading as apostles of Christ. And no wonder, since Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. So it is no great surprise if his servants also masquerade as servants of righteousness, but their end will correspond with their deeds. I repeat then, let no one think that I am foolish, but even if you do, at least accept me as foolish, so that I too may boast a little. He's been a little sarcastic again. The sarcastic tone reflects Paul's extreme frustration with the Corinthian church. At least accept me as foolish, so that I too might boast a little. I wonder if they even realize he's being sarcastic. What I say in this confident boasting, I say not as the Lord would with his authority, but foolishly. Since many boast of worldly things and brag about human accomplishments, I will boast too. For you, being so wise, gladly tolerate and accept the foolishness like me, being sarcastic still. For you tolerate if anyone makes you his slave, or devours you in your possessions, or takes advantage of you, or acts presumptuously, or hits you in the face. To my shame, I must say, we have been too weak in comparison to those pseudo-apostles who take advantage of you. But when in whatever anyone else dares to boast, I am speaking foolishly. I also dare to boast. Are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they descendants of Abraham? So am I. Are they self-proclaimed servants of Christ? I am speaking as if I were out of my mind. I am more so, for I exceed them with far more labors, with far more imprisonments, beaten times without number, and often in danger of death. 5 times I received from the Jews 39 lashes. Now, side note here, Old Testament law limited judicial scourging whippings to 40 lashes. The Jews established a tradition of 39 lashes to minimize the risk of making a mistake in the count and giving the guilty party more than 40. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. 3 times I was shipwrecked. At a night and a day I've spent adrift at sea. Many times on the journeys, exposed to danger from rivers, danger from bandits, danger from my own countrymen, danger from the Gentiles, danger in the city, danger in the wilderness, danger on the sea, danger among those posing as believers, in labor and hardship, often unable to sleep, in hunger and thirst, often driven to fasting for lack of food, in cold and exposure without adequate clothing. Beside those external things, there is the daily, inescapable pressure of my concern for all the children, the churches. Same. Who is weak, and I do not feel his weakness? Who is made to sin, and I am not on fire with sorrow and concern? If I must boast, I will boast of the things that reveal my weakness, the things by which I am made weak in the eyes of my opponents. The God and Father of the Lord Jesus, he who is blessed and to be praised forevermore, knows that I am not lying. In Damascus, the governor, ethnarch under King Aretas, guarded the city of Damascus in order to arrest me, and I was actually let down in a basket through a window in the wall and slipped through his fingers. King of the Nabatean Arabs from 9 BC to AD 40 is who King Aretas is. And so Paul escaped getting caught by him because he was led out this little door thing up high in a basket. Woo, out of the way he went. And that concludes chapter 11.